everybody, welcome back to Falling in Christ. My name is Bailey, and today we'll be talking about something that's a big part of my life, and hopefully you guys can start to try and really incorporate in your life if you don't already. And it's something we're all looking for in life, but we look for in the wrong places, and it's happiness. We look for happiness in people and, going places and traveling and buying cool stuff. And the way we look, the way we act. We look for it in all the wrong places. And it's hard to find it because of that. Mostly because our culture that we live in right now is basically convincing us that it's through things and objects and, money and cool cars and stuff like that. Every image that the culture portrays, it says, you'll find happiness here, but it's all a lie. And you won't. You won't. You never will. But there are several ways where you can find happiness, which the culture doesn't tell you about. And one of those ways is true love. I'm not talking about with your boyfriend or girlfriend, your husband or wife, not like that. Love in its truest definition. See, the Greeks had multiple words for the term love. Like, we use love interchangeably to mean different things. Like, you really like something, you really like someone, you love your family, and then just loving one another, But it was, they had it narrowed down almost to a science. Because, see, here's the thing. With all of those, there were three separate terms to mean, like, loving someone, something, and then loving your family. But then there was the term love, and the word they used for it was agape. Agape love. Which, if you've never heard of agape before, it basically means wanting what's good for another person, even if it can hurt you. It's a complete and total sacrifice of yourself for somebody else. And it's hard to do. But if you think about it, if you've ever volunteered for something like a rescue mission or feeding the homeless or something like that, maybe it's something simple like helping clean up a business, helping rake leaves for your neighbors, helping them mow lawns and stuff like that, little stuff or big stuff. Doesn't matter. If you do something truly for somebody else, for their benefit, not for your own, not to get your parents off your back or something like that, not for community service hours for school, but to actually serve them, you get this feeling of an overwhelming sense of peace and it's real happiness. It's real happiness, and you look up and you see it on the faces of everyone that you just helped, everyone you just served. They'll all be truly happy because you sacrificed yourself for them. And that's something that you can't replicate, that feeling. But we don't try and find it enough. We don't try and get it enough. We find that sense of happiness and then immediately forget about it and turn around and try and find it in superficial things. Which, I do it too, but it's like from an abstract thought, like objectively, it doesn't make sense. Because we just found true happiness, but we turn away from it. But I guess that's kind of just something we do, right? So that self-sacrificing love for somebody else. Maybe it's giving up watching a movie with one of your friends in college so that you can let them do their homework, or maybe it's helping them with their homework. I mean, little things that could mean something big for people. That true sense of love. You will always find happiness when you sacrifice yourself for the good of another person. Always. That's just one way that you can find happiness, though. And then you have happiness in the sense of like peace and calm, and like you're just happy with life. And for me, that has been a very new thing in my life, is that sense of calm and peace, and that like happiness with the way my life is, you know. And I found that there's something that's very difficult for me to do even still. I mean, and it's hard for everybody. And the people who can truly do this like 100% of the time, I commend you, because it's very challenging. Even though it doesn't really sound like it would. Because it's simply trusting in God's plan. Or just that He actually has a plan for you. And while it's difficult, it's easy to believe when things are going well. You know, when things are working out in life. But when it's not, that's when you need to believe it the most. And that's when we struggle with it the most. When things go wrong in our lives, we tend to, like, a lot of people will turn and blame God for things going wrong. You know, why didn't you stop it, or something like that. Like serious things going wrong, you know? And I've done that myself too. And I mean, like, obviously that's not right for us to do. Like, we shouldn't blame God for things that are going wrong in our lives. Because whether it was somebody else's actions, somebody else's choices affecting you, or maybe something you had no control over happened, there will almost always be some good that comes from it, which people find hard to understand. But there is so much value in suffering. And it's hard for us to really believe a lot of the time, especially when it's happening, because we're so overwhelmed with this frustration and upsetness and, you know, just chaotic frustration in life, you know, like whenever things go really wrong in our lives, like there's that pain, that struggle going on. But when you offer that up to a better purpose, and by offering it up, I mean, like, you take your struggling, your pain, and you say, okay, I will take this on if you maybe help this person, or like help this person feel better or grow, you know, like, or maybe you can direct it for souls in purgatory, stuff like that. I mean, if you put it towards a better use, if you keep a better purpose in mind while you're suffering, it can really do a lot of good. And I don't know if you've seen this in your life, but I've seen it in mine, and it's absolutely amazing to see. For me, I had a rough year a couple years ago, where I had a bunch of family in the hospital. I lost one of my family members, and my dog that I'd had since I was 3 years old passed away. Like, we had to put him down, and it was really difficult for me. Like, all of these things going on in that year, and I'd never had to deal with anything like that before. And so the fact that it had all happened at once was very overwhelming. But then one of my family members who was in the hospital, she offered up her treatment and her, all of her, her pain and her suffering that she was going through. She offered it up for me and my family and a couple of our family members in particular. And one of those family members she offered it up for had fallen away from the church a long time ago and is now like swinging on back and fighting her way in. And it's absolutely amazing experience to watch, and so blessed to have her being part of the Catholic Church again, and to be part of that family. And I mean, your suffering can do so much good, and we don't even realize it. And here's the thing, you might not always be the person who benefits from it. And it might not even be somebody you know. Maybe, somebody hears your story and is like, that's really inspiring. That's really powerful. And that means a lot to me. So that person grows because of the strife and the struggles that you had to go through. And that's something that we would never get to see. But we have to believe that some good came from everything bad. And what that does for you, when you trust that bad things happen for a reason, that somebody's going to grow out of it because that's God's plan for you, that changes the way you look at life in a very good way. Being able to look at life from a positive view, that doesn't necessarily make you an optimist. Like, you don't have to be an optimist. That's not what I'm saying here. But in a realistic view, good things happen when people offer it up. And I mean, there's so much more than just like people growing and like coming back in faith, stuff like that. Like, trusting in God's plan does more for you than just in like difficult times. Because when you trust in God's plan, it makes it easier to find a sense of comfort in your life. Especially when you're at a point in your life similar to where I am, being in college, or if you're in high school or something like that, you are now at a point in your life where you have to start taking control. And you want that sense of independence, but you don't really know what's going on in life yet. So it's very difficult. And things can get confusing and problematic. But I find that being able to trust that God has a plan for you and just working towards it, like make your life about God's plan for you, things work out really well. They tend to work out well. And that's not to say that you won't have any difficulties if you do this, because you will. Because in the Gospels, Jesus says, "I have come not to comfort the afflicted, but to afflict the comfortable." And if you truly want to be my disciple, drop everything, sell everything you own, and pick up your cross and come follow me. Stuff like that. It's not going to be easy. Your life's never going to be easy, especially if you're a Christian, and especially if you're Catholic. I mean, if you are Christian and don't find things going wrong in your life, I'm not going to lie, you're probably not doing it right. Because, like I said, Jesus says, we're going to have our crosses, we have to bear them, we have to pick them up. And, I mean, for me, like, even if my cross is light, if I'm not picking up somebody else's cross and helping them carry it, if I'm not doing that, I'm still not being a Christian. I'm not being a good Christian. I'm not following Jesus and what he had asked me to do. I mean, trusting in God's plan, it makes it easier to bear those crosses. A lot easier to bear those crosses. And you find that it's a lot easier to know when you're going in the right direction if you're thinking about life that way. Because, if things just seem to work, maybe they don't, but if there are a lot of obstacles in the way, and there's something in you that's saying, keep going. Don't stop. Stuff like that. I think that's God's voice telling you to keep going. Obviously. But, there's so much that you can get from listening to him and his voice. And it's hard to hear. It's hard to hear. Especially when we have as much noise going on in our lives as we typically do, especially at my age, And that's very difficult. It's very difficult. But it's something worth fighting for. It's something worth striving for. Is God's plan for you. And then finally, one other way that I want to talk about just real quick about how to find happiness is I went to a Steubenville camp this past summer, and one of the speakers said something that apparently is overused, but I'd never heard it before. And so it really stuck with me. And it said, and the speaker, she said that if you want to, if you want to find happiness in life, what you have to do in life is basically run to Jesus and then start running with him. Then eventually you'll look up on either side of you, and whoever you're running with is the people that you need to be with. And it's so true. If you stick with your faith and you fight to keep that faith and you make it a priority in your life, eventually you'll look up and be like, oh, hey, you've been with me this whole time. Even pursuing your faith. Right next to me. Surprise, there you go. That's a good person to be around, If you find people while trying to find Jesus, if you find people while trying to find God, find your faith, they're going to help you. And a true friend is somebody who loves Jesus more than you, or more than they love you. And because they love him so much, and because they still love you so much, they will push you towards him, and they will pull you towards him, and they will throw you towards him. They will carry you on that journey, and they will help propel you forward in your faith. And people like that, who care about their faith and who are going to help you become a better person and help you become a better Christian or Catholic or whatever, these are the people you want to surround yourself with in life. If you don't have anyone in your life like that, I recommend getting one, because the more of those that you have around you in your life, the happier you become. And I can tell you, being here at UMary, I have never been happier in my life, because I'm consistently surrounded by people who love their faith and who love God and who are, going out of their way to make him a priority every single day. These are the people that I am blessed to have around me, whether I like it or not. And, it changes you. It helps you grow. And it makes you happy. It makes you really happy. So surround yourself with people who surround themselves with God. And you'll find happiness. Right, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys are having a good day, good life. Everything's going great, right? As always, I'm praying for you. Please pray for me as well. And if you guys like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know what you guys think. If you have any questions, anything you want me to talk about in a future video, post it in the comment section below, and I would love to do videos on those. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys are having, everything's going great. Bye.